right, we are here and we are back. So glad to be with our family, with our Lit fam, and all our fans that are now watching. This is an amazing time. Thursday night, Shabbat is coming, and we have the time that we designate every single week for our young professionals, our professionals, the people that are part of this amazing community. And they have so much wisdom, so much input, and we are so glad to have them here with us again tonight. And tonight is really special for us. Let Shira tell you who is coming on tonight. We are very excited.
Okay, so I'm super excited for that. I mean, we're both excited. We're going to bring on Eli Andersen. Eli has been a big part of our family. And here we are. We're welcoming you into our show tonight. Hi, Eli.
Hi, Rabbi Jack and Shira. How are you?
We're doing well.
Doing great, Baruch Hashem. So great to have you on. It's a real honor, I would say, and we're very proud. It's been a ride of like 2 years plus, knowing you, having you part of our family, and experiencing so many things with you. I wouldn't spoil your story because you have an amazing story, and I would like everyone to hear and get inspired by you. So we'll let you take it away, right?
Awesome. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you so well.
Great.
This is beautiful.
I just want to thank my awesome roommate for providing this whole setup. And also Avi, because without him, we wouldn't have lights in this apartment right now. So I'm very thankful to have them. My name is Eli. Everybody knows me as Gunner for the most part. I grew up going by my first name, Gunner. I've kind of adopted it as my middle name, whatever you want to call it. And I started coming to Rabbi Jack and Shira 2 years and 3 months ago now. I went to my first real Passover Seder after my little brother moved to Los Angeles after going to yeshiva for a few months on a couple of different stints. And he moved to LA in March, and April came around and he was like, we need to go to a Passover dinner. And
let me bring up a picture of you and your brother sitting there. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, here you go.
We miss Cole so much right now.
We miss you, Cole.
Yeah, I hope he's watching.
He's smart and he's single. So I don't know. He might be single. I'm not sure. No, he's an amazing brother. He just left LA, unfortunately. I miss him dearly. But I'm very thankful to him that he did kind of take that leap of faith in his own life when he didn't know exactly what he wanted to do. So he decided to kind of press pause and hop off the treadmill and go to yeshiva. And had he not done that and gotten connected with the people that he got connected with, then we wouldn't have gotten connected and we wouldn't be on the show right now. So everything happens for a reason.
Everything. And every small little piece adds up to where you are right now. That's what I keep saying, is like how every small bit that someone else does builds us, you know. And it's who was kind to my grandfather that made my grandfather have the decision, you know, to marry his wife that eventually brought me into the world. Like that's a big part. That random dude that was kind to my grandfather, you know, there's so many little puzzle pieces that build me. It's really amazing. Yeah. So, and what builds you as well. And Cole is definitely one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all, you know, a lot of things happen in life, good, bad, indifferent, but they all add up to create what we're at right now, which is a really interesting time in the world. I don't think, had it not been for what we're seeing right now, we would probably be sitting in your house together doing this right now. But we're close. We're about, I could jog there in 5 minutes, but we're staying our distance for now.
That's right. Wow. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about your background, how you grew up before you came to LA, and what made you want to come here to LA?
I would love to. I grew up in Putnam, Connecticut. It's a town of 10,000 people. And I love it dearly. It is home through and through. Every time I go back there, it feels like a place I belong. I wish there was more of a Jewish community there, but in the future, I think there will be. We'll see. And so I grew up. Yeah, who knows? I'll get Rabbi Jack and Shira to move there and start one. But I grew up very, I had synagogue. I had a Hebrew school. Started when I was very young. The basics, I think they really brought kids from 3 to 5 years old to start and up until bar mitzvah age. And there were decent number of families, but as I got older, the number of families in the synagogue started to dwindle and it got less and less. And They are considered a conservative synagogue, but it's very loose. It's very reform at this point. But it was an interesting upbringing. Like I said, there's no Jews in the town, and only 10,000 people. So I was one of 3 kids in high school that was Jewish, the other 2 being my brother and sister. So being Jewish wasn't something I celebrated. There were times I was picked on for it, made fun of. I had thick skin, thank God, but it wasn't, oh, you're Jewish, and Shabbat, what are you doing on Saturday for lunch? That was a foreign concept for me until a couple of years ago. So it was really a different upbringing than what Rabbi Jack and Shira are used to, what your kids are used to, what a lot of my friends out here who are Jewish are used to. But it's nice because that is what Judaism is. We have so many different backgrounds, and the 10 hours of Torah studying that Rabbi Jack does in a day will make up for the 2 minutes that some other people might be doing. So we need to have that balance in the world. But I'm thankful that I was introduced to another type of Judaism. I guess another type is really the best way to put it, because it's opened my eyes to a lot and made me really embrace my Judaism and to start to pursue it on a deeper, more religious and spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Wow. And what made you, want to come to LA? You were very, when we met you, you were very different, and your views were very different. You want to elaborate on that?
Not really, but I will. No, I moved to LA December of 2017 to live on my grandfather's sailboat with him, in hopes of being in LA and kind of being like a social media influencer, like a famous fitness person. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I wanted to be in Los Angeles with more opportunities to kind of just pursue social media income, essentially. And I did it for a little while, and I got offered.
How did that go? Did you get a following, or?
Yeah, I had a decent sized following. I had some viral videos that Rabbi Jack loves to bring up, and but no, it was a good experience. It taught me a lot about myself, and it provides me something that's good to be able to reflect back on, because if you don't know like where you're coming from, like you're not really going to appreciate where you're going. So it's definitely part of my life that was essential, because it, like we said, every little thing that has happened so far has created where we are right now. So exactly. Yeah, it was quite the experience. It actually got me my first job in LA, because some people saw some of the content that I was producing and then asked me to come produce their television show. So I ended up being able to move off the boat, get my own place in downtown Los Angeles. My little brother moved out here to work with us, and the rest has kind of taken off since then. But that's an old part of my life, and I'm excited for some new things right now.
Wow. So how did you actually get interaction with us? Like, I know that it was your brother, but what was that like? Like, I don't even actually remember when I first, of course I do.
I mean, it was.
Yeah. Of course I do. That was one of the greatest.
Passover.
Yeah.
I remember
you were here till like so late. I was really nervous. If I can be honest, I mean, I was like, wow, these 2 guys are coming. I don't even know how much they know about Judaism. Sounds like you don't know much. And I was nervous that how is this gonna turn out? We wanted to be a good experience, but yet I was surprised to know that, I mean, you stayed for long enough to know that it made sense. It was good.
There's a couple of things that I really remember about it, and it was parking at Chase Bank where everybody parks, and then walking up. I don't know if it was when we were walking or right when we got to the door. Cole goes, "Oh, you can't shake her hand."
Oh, I remember.
What do you mean? He's like, and then he explained it all to me. I was like, oh, okay. And then I remember, I think it was me, Cole, and Amanda Weissman.
That's right.
It was the first Passover here.
It was the first Passover here for us as well.
Right. Yeah. I remember waiting a long time for the dinner to get going, because there was a whole story.
The whole thing.
Took quite a bit, and but that was at a point where I was just like, what is this guy talking about? Like, I haven't heard this.
Really? You didn't tell me.
I don't need to hear it again. But Cole said there was food, and I remember it was actually at a time where I didn't really drink, and I remember Rabbi Jack trying to get me to drink this black arak, this licorice black arak. This is not happening, bro. I don't know you. Like, I'm not drinking this. I don't like to drink. I have to drive. But you were you insisted. And I don't remember if I drank it, but I do remember the black arak very specifically, and dancing and just feeling good, feeling welcome, feeling like it was the house I wanted to be in and the house I wanted to come back to. And I definitely did.
We stayed that night till so late. I think we went
remember.
on till 2 o'clock, and by the end of it, we were just dancing and dancing. It was beautiful.
I was like, I remember after you guys left, I was like, wow, I think that was a success. They weren't scared of us because they wouldn't stay that long.
Right. No, it was a really special time. And I've gotten to go to a couple other Passover Seders since then, but none as memorable as that. That's for sure.
Wow, yeah.
Whoa, that's special, you know?
Yeah, and then not long after that was obviously the Israel trip, which obviously, between Passover and it was June. It was this time last year, July.
Right. So even before that, I think it was that summer, we didn't see you at all. Cole and I left Los Angeles for a month and a half.
That's right. You went on
that was the year before.
Yeah,
Okay.
the year after was the Israel trip.
Yeah, so we kept coming back once you guys got back, once we returned to Los Angeles. Taco Tuesdays, Wine Wednesdays, eventually we started that. I was on the board for a little bit during that time, helping plan different events.
Right.
Amazing.
That brought us all the way into a Shabbaton in Palm Springs, all these different events that became accessible because of knowing the two of you. And then that brought us to Israel the next summer. And Israel was just a wild 10, 11 days. It was,
Do you want to tell us more about that? The Israel trip.
Yeah, Israel was a very special time. I got to really strengthen my relationship with a lot of my closest friends. It's funny, every single time somebody asks me, oh, where'd you meet him? Oh, where'd you meet her? It's, oh, at the rabbi's house. I don't know if I had an answer besides that. And like Shlomo, Eitan, just Dan, my current roommate, Jonathan. Jonathan wasn't on the trip, but all people I met through you. But the trip was amazing because you're in a very spiritual place. You're being pushed out of your comfort zone. You're on vacation in the holiest place in the world. So the bonds you get to form with people that you're already friends with just get even deeper. And then there are people from Oregon, like Josh Matterman, and I'd never met him in my life. And we got very close on the trip. Michael Weinberg, for example, who he and I have stayed in touch ever since the trip. So I got to meet some really special people. And like I said, as well as just continue to build the bond that I had with some as well.
Do you remember the caves in Sfat in the north?
I think people probably still tell that story and curse us, Rabbi Jack.
Well, we went to these caves, which I'm sure many rabbis would know about, and many leaders of trips know about. But there's this cave that you go in Sfat in the north of Israel. Yeah. And we go there on Shabbat, and there's just singing going on in the
echo. That cave, so good.
That cave, yes.
Insane.
That was.
We were talking about the King David's tunnels.
Oh, that's another type of
in the water and singing at the top of our lungs, and we had a non-Jewish group behind us, and they just loved everything. They loved it, and people were in the front, like being jammed up in traffic jams, and anybody who's claustrophobic was definitely having a panic attack down there. It was just very tight quarters. But
you know what? Things have moved on. Can you imagine from then to now, and COVID, and so crazy, especially with what's going on in Israel as well.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to be, unfortunately, I mean, we're not, but we're supposed to be on our second Israel trip right now, as we were speaking. But, Hashem had different plans for Ishlit this year. Yeah. So we're embracing everything. We're doing whatever we can for the community, of course. I think what I think happens with a lot of the, trips, Shabbatons, I think the impact comes sometimes after the trip. What do you think about your impact? How were you impacted? Oh, wow. I like that. I see you guys in Jerusalem, right?
Let's see what else we have.
Oh, here. Our group photo overlooking, the mountains of Yerushalayim. Yeah. We were in Yerushalayim. This is beautiful. Nice memories, guys. This is great. Look at everyone. This is
Eli with
look at that.
Abraham. He's grown
a boy.
A little one that's turning 3 in like 2-3 weeks.
Wow. That was an amazing trip. Really, really special. Here's also
the Chaims.
That was in the winery, right?
The winery, yes.
It was good wine.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So what I think would be, it's nice and interesting to hear is how these experiences impacted you. What did you feel after the trip or after a Shabbaton? How do you feel like you got the impact? What was it like on you?
For me, Israel, biggest thing with Israel, I was kind of resisting a lot. I kind of had my guard up. I was like, I'm not ready for this. I don't want to be religious. I can't just dive in headfirst to all this. So I really started to pull back and, like I said, resist. And it wasn't until after Israel, things didn't go, my life didn't start the way I thought it was going to be starting after Israel. Like going to Israel, I thought things were going to be a lot different than when I got back from Israel, basically. And what that was for me was just such a wake-up call, such a shock to how I was seeing the world and how the world really was, I guess. And for me, it was inspirational more than anything. After the trip, huge after the trip was to just really take time for myself and just to be with myself. And I started taking some classes, which were so challenging, so challenging. I realized that it is very difficult to go through this schooling. And, but what it did, it got me very involved with, one, I had to move back here. So we'll get into the Shabbat house a little bit later, but it put me into Pico. It put me into the community, and it gave me access to not just Judaism, but Torah Judaism, and access to people who would meet me at a coffee bean at 7:15 in the morning to study for a half hour before class, to be able to just come to Rabbi Jack and study at 10 p.m. at the dining room table. So I think the biggest thing was, for me, the more I've learned is the more I've realized that I need to learn more. But there's a concept that I've learned called a tikkun, which is like your soul correction. And just where my life went afterwards, it made me realize, wow, there's a lot of things in my own life that I need to work on. And I found that the best way to work on that is through learning, is through growing in my Judaism. And I'll bring this back all the way to October, after I had met Rabbi Jack in April of 2018. So this is October 2018. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, or more, my girlfriend had just broken up with me. And I went to meet with Rabbi Jack, and I was like, what do I do? And he said, when the mental and the physical are really, really confusing, which they were for me at the time, you need to put your spirituality glasses on, and you'll start seeing the other two a lot more clearly. And that's what it's been since Israel. I put the glasses on. I only took them off for this interview, and really trying to focus on that. And it's done a number on me in many good ways. I couldn't be happier with the position that I'm at in my life right now because of it.
Can I just throw in, it's so interesting you said that you've been focusing on your tikkun, which is soul correction. Now, when you say the word tikkun, many people that are not necessarily so affiliated with Judaism would think that that means tikkun olam, which means fix the world. And you translated it as your own tikkun, which is fixing yourself.
Which is really what Judaism wants us to do.
That's what Judaism, when you actually look at tikkun olam, it's not really written in the Torah. There's no commandment in the Torah to be metaken olam. It's not one of the 613 mitzvot, to fix the world. But what it is the 613 mitzvot mostly about fixing ourselves. That's what really is going on. So it's interesting that the word tikkun is actually litaken, to fix, and it's a tikkun of yourself. Kabbalistically, that soul correction is kind of leveling your physical with the spiritual, and that's what you're saying. It's so beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you got to that realization, and that's what you started working on, which is like really inspiring.
To stop thinking about changing the world and change my own world, and that will change the world.
Yeah, I was very concerned about what other people in the world were doing, what other people that were close to me were doing, and realizing that the only reason these people are doing that is because of what I'm doing. And that's a harsh realization for anybody. Some people go their whole life and they never realize that it's their own fault. So when you can kind of accept that for yourself and then say, okay, not only did the learning open my eyes for me to realize that, but the learning also gave me the guide to then making the correction. It wasn't just you're messed up, go fix yourself. It was, you're messed up, here's how to fix yourself, which is a beautiful thing that the Torah is. It's a guide. So.
It's a direction. A
Yeah.
guide.
Torah, hora'ah, direction. You know,
Exactly.
that's exactly what the word means for those who never understood Hebrew. You mentioned also before, right? You know, about the Lit Shabbat house. Do you want to tell us a little more about it, and also to the viewers, those who are watching us and will watch us later?
Right.
What is it? What did it do to you?
Because I actually would just throw in before you even get into the Shabbat house.
Yeah.
That Palm Springs Shabbaton.
Oh yeah, the weekend retreat.
That weekend retreat that we did in Palm Springs, where we got this crazy house, and we want to do this again desperately.
Not even a house; it's like a mansion. With like
It has a
private
barn.
lake and barn and jacuzzi and a pool and whatever you want. You know.
But in a place like that, where there was nothing else to do, I think that was your real first introduction to a full Shabbat. Wasn't that the first full Shabbat that you did, or?
Was the first Shabbat? That was November.
That was November.
Truly. I don't know if I
Shabbat.
But yeah, that was like my first Shabbat experience, I guess you could say.
Right.
My first full-on Shabbat experience. I don't know if it was the first time I wrapped tefillin, but it may have been the first time I wrapped tefillin.
Oh yeah, we have a picture of that.
Oh, we have a picture of that. That's right.
There's proof.
Yeah.
There's proof.
No, Rabbi Jack and I, we went out to like, I don't know if he wrapped it at the house, but I remember going out to a rock to pray, just like going off the distance. But yeah, that was a great experience. It was 20 people. How many people ended up going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was in the car with Orit, Carly Levy, and my brother. And I remember because Orit was keeping Shabbat, and all of us were just like, we're just here to party for the weekend. And so Orit's like pressing the gas. Oh, we're not going to get there in time. She was worried about getting off the road. And it was cool to see somebody actually care about that, because I had the same experience a few weeks ago in Colorado. I was like, oh my God, we're stuck in traffic and we haven't moved in 2 hours. We're thinking, are we going to get an Airbnb? Is Alec going to drive because he's not Jewish? Can he drive? Like, we were trying to figure out all these different scenarios in our head. So it's just funny how that was 2 years ago, where I'm just sitting in the passenger seat, not caring, and then just to be in a very different seat, literally, was from that.
Wow. So yeah, so the Shabbat house, the Lit Shabbat house.
Yeah.
We call it the Lit crew, the Lit guys, whatever you guys want to call it.
They're amazing.
Yeah, we're in a Shabbat house, me and my Ish Chayil, Jonathan Tobin. I'm so lucky to have him. And, yeah, it's really been a blessing. I had to talked to my parents last summer, and I said, look, I want to go back to LA, but I want to go to school, and I need to live in a Jewish area to have access to the things that I need to have access to. And West LA has a price tag. And it's one of the highest price tags in the country. So to have access to something like Shabbat housing, which is through a shlit, which is through Olami, where we're able to get funding for meeting certain requirements. For example, keeping the kitchen kosher, keeping Shabbat in the public space, and attending a certain number of Shabbat dinners each month, or full Shabbatons each month, 2 versus 4. And now we've obviously had to pivot and figure out a different way to do it, because we can't come to your Shabbat dinners. So we're doing it with photographs of the table with our challah and our wine. But it's been a really nice few $100s to get each month for doing something that at this point I'd be doing anyway. So now it's just getting a few $100 to send 4 pictures and an email each week with the number of hours that we've learned, which is also another component of it, having to learn, 3 hours a week with various, with Rabbi Jack or other approved rabbis or other people we learn with. So yeah,
that's amazing.
It's been very helpful.
So that really gave you the chance to really move to the Pico area. That was like the push for you to move here.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay to live in Beverly Hills without the money. I couldn't, my dad said, you got to go and get the scholarship. So, yeah, I see Naftali just commented. I was at Naftali's Shabbat dinner a couple of years ago as well.
Wow.
Rabbi Hamfling.
Yes.
So,
let's show his comment.
We're going to show it on the screen.
Rabbi Hamfling, you are the rock star here, okay?
He said, Eli, you are a rock star. That's great.
Nice.
And Omri says, I love Lit Shabbat house. Joseph Cohen. Wow. Wow. You want to add it to the screen so people can see?
Thank you, Omri.
I like Joe's comment the most.
Oh, yeah, you've seen it. Yeah. Well, we'll speak about your working out soon.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
to that.
Here's Natasha Feldman.
Natasha, love my H-Lit fam. We love you. Love having you part of the family. It's a real honor.
And Robert, we've not seen him for a while. Another LITtalks. He loves Shira's cakes. Favorite thing. He always says such nice things about
from
food.
Shira's kitchen. Lots coming every week. Even though we're in quarantine, so now that we're on LITtalks, we can say we've been adding this component for those who still want to feel the Shabbat environment and
for sure
taste the Shabbat food, what they're used to when we had our big Shabbats. So we offer, straight from our kitchen, different meals, different plans for people who would like to pick up before Shabbat. And the response has been really amazing. And people are really able to taste Shabbat, even if they're alone, even if they're, with a few friends doing something small, they feel the community and they feel the vibe and the family. So,
we can't wait to get back to normal life.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Can't wait.
Yeah, our kids really need
just too long.
I will add to your comment, Shira, about Shira's kitchen. For Shabbat 2 weeks ago, she made me a cake, and it was an amazing cake. Jonathan did not have any after Shabbat because it was gone by the time he got back. So it was not good.
Oh.
And if you need Shabbat food and you don't want to go pick up takeout or have to do all the cooking yourself, you have to let Shira know, because she is providing the most amazing Shabbat food, as she always does when we're there in person, but now it's just coming in a box.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
A box of love.
Yeah, I would say that.
You can taste that. That's the most prominent ingredient.
Yeah, my dad always used to say, when the food is really good and it's homey, that there's a special spice in it, and that's called love. So
the Talmud tells the story of the special spice, which is Shabbat, right? The Roman who said, "What's in your chamin? What's in your cholent, or your food that you eat that's so delicious?" He said, "There's a special ingredient that we put in, and it's called
Shabbat.
Shabbat. It's a spice." So it really is a special spice.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Awesome.
Let's see. You Eli, you have so much. Would like to tell everyone also what you do now, and as Joe mentioned, maybe you can tap into that.
Let me add his logo
fitness.
Of his company here.
Yes, here you go. Can
corner.
See Made to Move. It's a cool
Made to Move.
We're all made to move. Everyone watching is made to move.
Yeah,
that's right.
You want to tell everyone about Made to Move, what you do, what you're focusing on?
Yeah, I would love to. So Made to Move is a new fitness company I started. And this is kind of a really good example of, I guess, what Judaism's done for me. I used to have a fitness business called GunFit. I used to go by my given first name, Gunner, and I took half my name and put fit at the end of it. And it was all about me. It was me. It was showing off my abs and my biceps and my body, and just a very it wasn't a kosher social media channel by any means. And but I really took a couple-year break from doing the training. I always had at least one client on the side just to make some extra cash. But I worked in television for 9 months. I worked a sales job for 5 to 6 months. Thank you, Jonathan Sadian, for that amazing opportunity and learning experience. I wouldn't be
another H-Lit person.
Yes, I would not be able to run the business that I'm running now without all the skills that he taught me in that time period. But Made to Move, it's a personal training company, and our big push right now, because of this virtual world that's slowly being created and materialized, is gyms are shutting down and trainers are out of work. So people can't get good workouts in, and trainers don't have clients. So what we're doing is we are eventually going to build a software, God willing. But right now, the big push is to match clients, people who want personal training, with trainers who have the ability to provide it through a video streaming platform such as Skype or Zoom or FaceTime, anything. And it's something that I started doing myself a few years ago with some clients, so I knew it would work. And that's our big push. So now building a network of other trainers to keep doing it. And then I have all of my own in-person clients. So like, thank God this month I'll see about 30 different people throughout the course of the month. Some 3 times a week, some 1 time a week, some in person 3 times a week, and some on Zoom 2 times a week. So it's really a hybrid model where we're creating training principles because we know what approach.
I have a nice picture here. Throw that in.
Here you go.
Kurosh, the Fresh Prince of
the awesome people. Awesome Kurosh and Jonathan. Look at you guys. Yeah.
This is an amazing picture. And you look great, Eli.
Thank you. 2 of the greatest people I've met out here in Los Angeles. I hope they're both watching right now. But yeah, I love it. It's become, it always was my passion of mine. When I was 16, 17, I was the captain of my baseball team, and I had the entire freshman class at my house that whole summer, working out, deadlifting with old weights in my backyard and doing pull-ups in the trees. And my dad put a pull-up bar in the backyard. So it's kind of always been something that I've just done. And I don't know, like I said, I put the spirituality glasses on, and it helped me see things a little bit more clearly, that this is something that I'm talented at. It's a gift that God gave me, is to be able to inspire people to move, because we are looking at a nation which has just experienced tragic loss. And we also are looking at a nation that is fatter than every other nation. And we have 68% of people in this country are either overweight or obese. And that is setting people up for health issues down the road and loss of life, dying earlier. And I would hate to see that. I lost my grandmother in January, and she did not have a great end to her life. You know, she had a lot of breathing complications. She wasn't able to go out on a walk for us. And I want to be jet skiing when I'm 77, not be counting on my final days.
As long as it's in your control, that's
right. So
and what I think is beautiful is also that you emphasize the made to move is not just about moving physically; it's also about moving spiritually, and you enjoy the fact, and you experience the joy of growth and mentoring. Like you have some people that are teenagers, and you see that it's not just about it's not just about fitness that they're looking for. It's the spirituality that they're looking for. And honestly,
they're inspired by you.
Yeah, they're inspired by you. And it goes hand in hand, you know, it goes hand in hand, having the physical fitness, but also feeling empowered, feeling that life is worth something, that there's a reason for everything that happens. And that's what's so beautiful about your message in Made to Move. So
yeah, it's how are we going to serve Hashem if we can't even breathe on our own, or we're unhealthy? If we just aren't of the best health, we're not going to be of the greatest service. So it's
maybe that's why the Made to Move logo has 2 M's. One of them is moving spiritually, and one's moving physically.
Beautiful. I like that.
Cole, add that to the branding package, please. Jot that. It's really become. I'm very passionate about it. I've gotten very focused on it, thank God. And like, this is the first time in my life I've been able to be a personal trainer full time. I'm starting to hire people. I might even be able to take on a business partner in the future. So we've got some really interesting conversations going on, and I'm hoping that within the next few weeks there will be some big news coming out with how we're expanding and how we're going to be reaching and helping more people, because that's ultimately, at the end of the day, that's the goal of this, is to help people. Because if people could do it on their own, we wouldn't see 2/3 of the country not doing it. Sometimes they need, you're not going to pick up the Torah and just try to read it yourself. You're going to go to a rabbi. And there's so many myths about fitness, myths about diet, myths about nutrition, myths about fasting, sleeping, etc. And it's important to have somebody that can guide you, at least in the starting process. So to be able to set people up with that toolkit, give them a toolkit over the course of a few months, and then they can take it and run with it. It's a really special, and it's purpoful. And that's what I think 5 levels of pleasure, Rabbi Jack, that's a very important thing to have in your work. It's purpose behind it.
Yeah, it gives you enjoyment, fulfillment. It's not just a job that you go and do and you go back home. You love it, you're passionate about it, which is really, it's incredible. Wow, this has been really amazing, sharing your story, what you do, your inspiration, the impact you have. Maybe there's some also comments here that you want to add, maybe?
You can confirm that the cake was amazing. And I have a new Jordan.
Jordan!
That's nice.
Jordan had a piece of my cake. That's great. I'm glad.
Jordan, I can also confirm that the cake was amazing.
Well,
You tried it?
I didn't eat from that. I didn't eat from that cake, but she made a similar one.
Yeah, the
Push it
same
back.
week that I made for you, I realized my kids were like, "Mommy, we also want the cake. I mean, it's so nice, but we're not gonna go to Gunner's birthday." So I said, "You know what? I'll make the same one." So I actually made exact same one, but on ours, obviously, I wrote Shabbat Shalom. So
Nice.
it worked.
Nice. That's
And then
awesome.
here we have
We have
Bennett.
Bennett.
Oh, Bennett,
Just
we gotta
on the
get
phone
you
with Bennett.
on sometime soon.
Go, Eli, go.
He's
Yeah.
the
I was
man.
just on
And
the phone
hey,
with Bennett. Bennett's an amazing guy. I'm looking forward to him hopefully visiting soon. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy moving pieces going on right now. I think that's something we're all dealing with. Nobody knows right now. If we're talking about going into lockdown, I was just at the gym 4 days ago, and then I drove by it yesterday, and I couldn't open the door because it was locked. So things are constantly changing, and nobody knows. And I guess what I can say to people based on that is just go, because you have so many people who are paralyzed right now by fear, not just of a virus, but paralyzed by fear of what's going to happen next in my life. How do I make this decision? How do I make that decision? So you have people literally just dropping out of the race, paralyzed. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to stay in bed all day. I'm depressed. Jonathan left me for a month. I was in this apartment alone in isolation. I was like, I'm going to Connecticut. I can't do this anymore. So I sympathize with the people who are maybe being in quarantine alone.
look at the screen. Jonathan, thank you.
No, the light. Jonathan, can you come shine this light right on me by any chance?
Message. Yeah, I love you, Eli, the most beautiful wife I could have asked for.
Do it for your wife, please. Thank you. There we go. Right
And then we have
one a little more.
his message there as well. Thank you for the lovely dinner you prepared for me tonight. I love the Hebrew that they throw in. It means that things are going well Jewishly down there. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's some content.
So the big question is, who sings Ish Chayil to who? And that's the question.
We mumble through it still, but Jonathan is crushing Kiddush. I will admit that. I haven't.
Wow, yeah, we hear that he's doing a great job, like Rabbi Jack, with the tune and everything else. This is
beautiful.
amazing.
It's really beautiful.
It's something to make us proud.
Yeah, it's been great. I apologize for this light. I'm gonna try to keep my face in front of it, but yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're great.
I was just gonna add. I went to Connecticut for 40 days. And there were 5 Shabbats, and it was really it was easy. It wasn't easy to keep Shabbat, but you do what you have to do. But it was hard to prep Shabbat and to get Shabbat on the table in time and get the stuff out of the oven in time and to get Corona beer in time and like all these things that we're trying to do. And it just made me appreciate how much that Shira does and the fact that we can kind of stroll in after Shabbat has already started and there's just this 5-course meal prepared with cold beer in the fridge and
Corona.
it was very challenging. It was very challenging to do all the work that you do. So I tip my hat to you because you do it. You do it for about 40 times the amount of people that I was doing it for.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But over time in life, you learn how to do everything. It's a given. So once you're passionate about something, you'll do it. And you've proved that. Everything that you were really passionate about. And you found what you love and you find the meaning in it, you go for it. So that's
so true.
It's a beautiful thing to have.
Yeah. I mean, Eli's passion is something which is really something to look up to. It's beautiful.
I got to see you, Rabbi Jack. You have that picture of what's on the plane? That's the best one.
Oh, yeah. Still do.
I forgot. Right. You guys also had the trip to the men's trip.
Yeah.
This past, what is it? Was it December?
Yeah.
And December.
That was the big one. That was the big one. That was that thing flipped my life upside down.
That was also, every little piece adds up. Like we were saying, it's not just the Israel trip. It's not just it's all the.
It's not
things.
the Shabbaton. It's not just Taco Tuesday. It's just everything together. I feel like
it's the constant package of growth and being involved and finding that community
and connecting with people and investing your time and getting to know people as well, and letting them getting to know you. It's a package.
Absolutely.
So we're so happy that you came on, and we're really appreciative, and we think that Made the Move is gonna really move in all ways, in all successful ways. So we bless you with that. for sure.
Yes. And, we're going to wrap up a great evening with you. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show. As always, being a guest in our house. Not even a guest. You're not a guest anymore, but, our kids really miss you. That's for sure.
For sure.
Especially little Avraham.
I do want to add something before we go.
Yes.
So the reason all of this is possible, like getting this set up, being able to connect with Rabbi Jack and Shira, go to Israel for literally $9.99.99, and pay $120 to go to New York for 6 days. It's because of the people who contribute to organizations like Olami, to Aish Lit specifically, and a couple people, Roy Rain. I want to thank him. He has been, along with Rabbi Jack, like such an instrumental part of my growth, not just Jewishly, but like my growth as a man. If you want to have a role model to look up to and aspire to be like somebody, Roy is that person. And he has been on the phone with me for 30 minutes every single day, other than Shabbat, for the last 8 months at least, just studying with me. We just finished Pirkei Avot, and we're on to
Beautiful
Letter for the Ages by Ramban. And he's pushing me and he's encouraging me, and he knows when to not push me too hard and when to push me a little harder. And then also Isaac Davidi, who is
go Isaac.
Huge.
Yeah, I hope he's listening.
I hope he's listening.
I hope he is. But Roy, a big time with the spiritual side and the personal side, but Isaac from the business side. He took me out to, where do we go? What's the Charcoal? That's the kosher restaurant.
Yeah, there's another
one. Charcoal, and just gave me and a couple other guys some really great pieces of business advice that I've taken to heart and applied very strictly to my own business, and it's working. And I'm thankful to him for that, and I'm looking forward to just continuing to build my friendship with both of them, and also to and like I said, I just want to thank all the other donors, because it's not just one fat check from one person. It's a lot of small contributions, medium-sized, large contributions. So
yes,
so those
definitely
people
make all this happen,
make everything happen, and help us meet people like you and provide with all these experiences and do everything, and hopefully to see the fruits. So that's really amazing. Thank you for mentioning that as well.
Yeah, I also find something special about Eli, that he gets involved with the community, and I think that's so important too. Like
you're out of your comfort zone.
Totally get out of your comfort zone, get to know people from the community, and it's also something which is
important. I guess I'll add one last thing onto that, because I really do like to connect with people, and it was one of the notes that I had sent over to Shira as one of the last things I wanted to talk about. Was a lot of people who are watching this, they're in a similar spot to where I was a year ago even. And there's a lot of things that I've taken on myself. And I just want to encourage all the guys, any of them that are interested, we're trying to do a lot of learning on our own, because these Havrusas, they don't have all day. They have families, they have jobs, they're dealing with this whole COVID situation, so they probably have even less time on their hands trying to patch up businesses, etc. So me and a couple other guys, we've been doing a lot of learning in like FaceTime group sessions. So I highly encourage anybody who is interested to reach out to me, because we're not sitting down and pulling apart Gemara. We're just reading basic texts that have been translated for people with our skill set to be able to understand. And these books are just, they are so important to be learning, because they're making my life so much better. And I think they would do the same for anybody else who got involved.
That's amazing. Well, the more you learn, the wiser you get. And, it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that and do it on your own, and encourage people to do that. So that's really amazing.
We need to learn.
Yeah.
We can't only learn for our careers and then not put learning into anything else. And I think that life is a learning lesson, and it can be solved by actually learning about life in other areas, like raising a family, marriage, dating, all of these things, which we always stand up for. Torah, education, Judaism is so much about education, but not just about my career. Education is in all areas of life, especially in other areas of life. And that's what we really stand up for. So, and that's what you're doing, and you're choosing to do it. And, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So,
Last
let's just finish
comment
this
before
up.
we're gonna wrap up with this one because this is a beautiful one.
That's the way to end it. Love you, brother Cole. We love you too.
Yes,
miss you.
We miss you here, and we're glad you're on.
Love
That was
you.
one of the saddest Shabbats when he said goodbye to us, and
Quite a while ago.
in
but
LA. Yeah.
He'll be back.
Amen.
He's
Well, we're here for now.
amazing.
We're
Awesome.
here, we're waiting. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat, you, Eli, and everyone else that are watching. As always, Lit Talks Thursday night. We are back,
And we're
and
glad
we're
to be
super
here.
excited.
Yes.
It was an honor to have Eli this week, and we have already a great surprise for you for next week. So stay tuned. Thursday, 8:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. I really
Yes,
appreciate
it's a pleasure.
it.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Bye, everybody.
Bye.